Welcome to our program, Weekly News. Our camera Natural TV have been recording a various news, political or social, economic. So as we know that I'm alone, I'm with my colleague Islam. He's an expert in international relationship. Like that, we will make a lot of details about our news for today. So my first question for you, actually. Israel to build 6,000 more bank homes. Do you have some details about this article?
Thank you, Aisha, for our Sunday. This is a really good evening to talk about this issue on international relations. And at first, we are starting to something in very sad news, like the Israel. They are starting to build 600 another 6,000 more homes in West Bank. You know that before to tell you about this policy of Israel, as we talk even so many times, Israel, they are always try to expanding their land by any means, whatever they are uprooting and withdrawing the Palestinian people's land, homes especially, or maybe they can occupy the land or homes by any means. So what happened, this after the Trump administration said like Palestine will be the especially the Jerusalem will be the capital of Israel. After these things, Israel taking this kind of initiatives. The first question it comes like why Israel, they can make actually very good state together with the Palestinian people and also Israeli people. And in every corner of the world, there is actually existing this. It doesn't matter where, what religion you are or whatever you are from. And as we know, Israel is always demanding, and they are always telling that we are the democratic country in the Middle East. But the fact is, like what we are seeing now, like how they are occupying and how they are capturing the land. Even the forget this forget everything, like how they are captured and how they are occupying the land of Palestinian. If we even see the current situation of humanity, current situation of democracy, current situation of freedom of rights, current situation of normal fundamental rights, nobody, no international scholar, no international media or no academician can acknowledge or accept this what Israel is doing with their with the Palestinian people and Palestinians authority. The thing is very clear. Actually, the objectives of Israel is not actually just to expand their home and to make a environment and to make it true what they are telling. This the Old Testament said, like especially this they are using this the God. This Allah said in their that's what the Muslims people believe. This in Injil, not it's about the Torah. In Torah, it's said like it will be the land for the Jewish people. So by any means, whatever they say, like the treating with the people of Palestinian is totally unacceptable. Even this in the indicator or in the methodology or in the level of the world humanitarian situation or world humanitarian perspective. We cannot, and nobody cannot acknowledge, or nobody cannot say this. That what they are doing is it can be the good things to protect their nationality, to protect their national security, because you are just totally damaging the 6,000 people home, and without any, because you have only one target to occupy the land. And this, even the Oslo Treaty, this very important for our viewers also to know this. According to the Oslo Treaty in 1967, after the Israel and Arab War, there was one treaty in Oslo, and in that time, they make some agreement like the Israel will not make any kind of homes and any kind of they will not occupy any kind of things from the West Jerusalem, because the West in that time in 1967 agreement, the West Jerusalem and the East Jerusalem, it was two divided part, and West Jerusalem was under Palestine, the East Jerusalem under the Israel. But what we are seeing now, the Israel is trying to occupy the whole lands, whatever they are finding. The Palestinian people are living there, they are capturing it, they are taking these things in their own control. So by this situation, it's really impossible for the general people of Palestine, because because to live there, whatever the agreement, whatever the international treaty or whatever international law says, because that's, you know, for Israel, they don't care anything, they don't care any international norms, they don't care any international, you know, treaty, they don't care any kind of international tradition or customs or international law. So this fact is really maybe history will take the, you know, the initiative, or history will give the best response whatever Israel is doing now.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's continue with the next actuality actually. So 72,000 from Turkish people, they doing Hajj now. So what are the benefits for the Hajj for the both of the country?
Oh, thank you so much. You know, this is a very much important figure. You know, the Hajj. You know, the first thing like I should do, the Hajj is very much important. That's what say the pilgrim in a Muslim culture and Muslim religion. You know, this and it's one of the fundamental worshipping to the God. I mean Allah, and you know, in Islam, because of our, I think that for our viewers is also important. I mean, so many viewers, they are also very much interested to know about these things, like the people's you know, this 72,000 just only Turkish people. Why these people like went to do the Mecca? You know, in one hand we can say this, it's only worshipping, but the other things, you know, this if we say from every perspective, I mean, like rather than religion, of course the first thing is one of the fundamental part of religion for the people who are you know, capable, not for every people, not for, I mean, it's
they
not
are
for
unable for going there.
It's not for you know, further, I mean, like, you know, of course, you know, and like so many people, some who knows something about their Muslim religion, you know, this the Muslim religion, there is so many parts of part of their religion, and this part, I mean, the Hajj also the one of the very important part of their religion, and first, but this first is not important, I mean, compulsory for all of the people. I mean, if you have a capacity, if we have a money, I mean, if we have that much capacity, then the people, they can go to the Hajj for, I mean, to perform the Hajj. So what we see, this is you know, in Turkey and in Saudi Arabia, from this perspective, you know, they have a very historical relations, and you know, it should to be mentioned, like when especially in the time of Ottoman Empire and Osmani Khilafat, that's what we know, Osmani Emperor in that time. Also Turkey was the one of the like, you know, Turkish or the Turkish ancient people, they were, you know, administrate the Mecca and Medina, and there was some good legacy, I mean, rather than from the just only for religion. You know, the Turkish people, when even also, you know, this if you in Umrah, you know, Turkish people are the most figure number, I mean, the one of the highest figure numbers to whoever went to the Hajj. You know, even if you compare the numbers with the other Muslim countries like Pakistan or Bangladesh, Indonesia, my most populated country, Turkish number is really, it's still very high number. The position of Turkey now is still, you know, third position or something. You know, the Turkey, they have also rules, you know, they have some lottery system, you know, this the every people cannot go to perform the Hajj. You know, every people, they can go for performing Umrah, but it's not impossible to go for Hajj. And that's why, you know, in the Turkish, you know, Diyanet Foundation, the religious foundation in Turkey, they have some system, like in every year they are selecting the person by lottery, and these people can only go to the Hajj. Whatever you are asking me is that how it will make a good relation with Turkey and Saudi Arabia. You know, this the two things is here is very much important. You know, one thing is, when we are seeing about the Hajj or those issue, most of the peoples, they are looking it from the religious perspective, not the political perspective. You know, the political relations and cooperation is totally different
Which
things.
means they are separate.
So of course they are we cannot say fully separate, because you know, this whatever it means, if we as like we can say as expert or as a observer or on international relations or like those kind of international issues, those kind of issues also important if and those kind of issues also make a good impact on international politics. How it is like, you know, that 72,000 people are going to the Umrah for Hajj for to Mecca, and in this way, you know, this Saudi Arabia, they knows very well, I mean, that why the Turkey is very much important for them, and they knows that the Turkish people and based the Turkish people's love to the I mean religion, to the religion of Islam, even, you know, in so many area, maybe Turkey and Turkish political administration and also the Saudi Arabian political administration, they have so many, you know, separation, they have a different argument, they have a different, you know, school of thought, they have a different policy in international issues, they have a different movement, they have a different objectives. But this is true, you know, when it comes to the expression, when it comes to the emotions, and when it comes to the sacrifice for the God, when it comes to the basic and fundamental things of religion, you know, it's not about the Saudi Arabia or Turkey. The most of the Muslim countries, it's you will find the same things. I just want to mention, you know, of course we know about the Malcolm X, the one of the, I know, figure, a very important figure in Muslim country, who were converted from, you know, Christian to the Muslim. When he went first time, you know, into Mecca for performing Hajj, he was very much astonished when he saw this, you know, this the every color people, I mean, whatever is African people, black people or white people or like you, I mean whatever is the race, color or their language or their class, it doesn't matter, like the peoples are same. And this is actually the main message. That's what like always the Muslim countries or Muslim scholars or Muslim academicians, they try to spread out the message, that the peace of Islam or the peaceful message of Islam. Because, you know, I know this is not that much related with our news analysis, but from other perspective, I just want to mention it, you know, in about the Islam and the religion of Islam and Muslims, there was so many bad messages we got, I mean, like especially in international level, like we understand Islam means like what the ISIS terrorist group did, or we understand Islam means like fight, war or something. But you know, this the fundamental issue of Islam, like Hajj is the one of the most fundamental issue. Then when we look to the most fundamental issue, it shows that how much peaceful process and how much peaceful, you know, worshipping on process of Islam, how they are gathering the all kinds of people, whatever you are coming from West, whatever you are coming from the very high level or very low level, it doesn't matter. In front of the God, you are the same. In front of the, when you are giving your I mean the hate to the God, you will not look to whose color is white or whose color is black, or whose color looks like very smart or like something very rich class or like lower class or poor class. It doesn't matter, because it's same. And I feel like it's not even me, and I mean for the who are talking or making a comment on Islam or those kind of shows, they first to actually see the positive things, I mean the real message of Islam, how Islam is dealing with the people, how Islam's message to the people. And the Hajj is very much important to understand the reality of Islam. And again, that's the issue you asked me, the Turkey and Saudi Arabian relations, you know, not even also Turkey and Saudi Arabia, all Muslim countries, for their unity and to make a good things for the humanity of the world, they have to look also this kind of their main fundamental worships. And in that way they understand that's why Allah sent them to the world, and why it is much more important to be united, to make much more good things for the humanity, much more good things for the you know, the good things for humanitarian activities, or for the good things, good deeds for peoples, whatever he is from which corner he is from, whatever he is from which religion, it doesn't matter. But the God sent us to make good things for the people. The God sent us to make equality and equity with people. I mean, to make the equal distribution of the resources. And when we are looking this the equality in this kind of way, I mean the fundamental worshipping of Islam, then we'll understand, I mean, whatever the Muslims leader, they will understand that their main objectives, rather than to work or fight or to do something for their nation state, or like a small state, or like make a fight or war for their very specific national interest.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you so much. Let's continue with the political actuality, especially in Yemen. In Yemen, the attack results 25 military personnel are killed. So, do you have some details about this event?
Yeah, the Yemen, I was also yesterday I was watching the video,
Yes,
like
and especially focus
mm.
especially on the causes. What makes these attacks really happening?
The Yemen is one of the country like what we are seeing in Syria or Iraq, we saw, and also in Afghanistan. This is also one of the unfortunate country, like in the world, especially in the world map, like what we are not discussing that much level. How much they are struggling for their rights and for their freedom, and also how much people they are losing. The things, it happened in the Aden, this one of the nearest city, I mean, and also military camp of military security camp of Yemen. This the first thing we have to know, like this military and this security forces, they are supported, especially the government, they are supported by the Saudi Arabia and also United Arab Emirates, UAE. Those countries, these two countries, they are actually supporting their current government. But on the other hand, there was some proxy things, especially there was a rebel group, the Houthi, and some the how we can say the literature and the scholars argue like they are mostly supported and Shia, I mean the Shia group in and also supported by the Iran. So there is almost one kind of, we can say, the proxy war is happening. What we saw in 1990s and before the 1990s, after the Second World War and before the 1990s, the time of Cold War between the Soviet Union and the USA. They make so many proxy war in so many countries. So this is the another thing what we are seeing in and what we are actually experienced and witnessed in Middle East, these two countries, especially Saudi Arabia versus Iran, they are making so many proxy war, and in Yemen, in Syria, and these things is happening. This United Arab Emirates, they make this, the military, parade in Aden, and in that time, Houthi they attack and missile attack, and some sources said, this kind of missiles they took actually from Iran. Iran is giving this kind of missiles to meet them and to make fight actually against Saudi Arabia and also UAE, United Arab Emirates, and in that military parade, this almost 25 soldiers already died, and it was the one of the most important military parade in Yemen's this conflict history, because it shows the capacity of the current government. They are making this military parade to show to the world, like the current government in Yemen, they are capable to control their whole land. But in that way, this Houthi shows like, okay, they are not capable, because we have a much more capacity to control them and to attack on them. And even also, Houthis, the spokesperson in Houthis message, they also spread out some message. They said they have that much level of missile. In that way they can attack also the Saudi Arabian state, for example Dammam, or like even also some sources from Arabian based media like Saudi Arabia, they say the Houthi also attack on Mecca or something, but it's not also proved by the fact based media. But the truth is, for Houthi, they are getting very special weapons and very capable weapons to attack on like their inside their especially the government-based group, and also the outside, like in Saudi Arabia. But this, as I talk also so many Yemeni scholars and also the academicians who are working on Yemen. The peoples of Yemen, it's normal actually. It's not exceptional for any other countries. They want to live in a peaceful way. They want to live in a peace. Rather than in a conflict or war. And whatever is a Houthis demand, or like the current government's demand, and nobody wants to this. But the fact, this same in every countries, and we know they are getting weapons. We understand that some parties, they are helping them from some perspective, from some their own interest, and in that way the conflict is arising, and conflict, what we are expecting, this it should to be resolved and it should to be lowering, but unfortunately it is not happening. And it's a continuous process, and we didn't see that much level of that much level of expectation to resolve this conflict, because these two countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia, their objectives is not fulfill. Until their objectives are not fulfilled, they will not make or resolve this problem, this conflict. And what we are seeing, this Houthis versus the current government forces, conflict is just nothing, just as I told, it's a proxy.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's continue with Omog, the exclusive news for today. It's 60 Taliban militants killed in Afghanistan. Especially, I'd like to ask you about how was the situation there and what are the details, especially for the final investigation. Do you have some details about it?
Thank you so much. Again, this another conflict.
Yes.
The world is full of conflict, yes, in some extent when we were analyzing.
Yes.
This last week we talked about the Taliban. They killed 37 this Afghan security forces. So this is just we can say like the what Taliban did with the Afghan security forces. This is a feedback. Like what now the Afghan security forces and also US soldiers, they together, yes, did this attack on Taliban. And as we see, this is 60 Taliban as like Afghanistan like a government statement. They said like 60 Taliban died, killed by this attack. But the issue is this Afghanistan, there's for a long time, it's a one kind of protracted conflict. For a very long time they are still in a still involved this conflict, and Taliban is killing to the security forces. Afghan government security forces killing to the Taliban. But this what the most effective and expected thing for this country, because from 2003 to now 2019, almost what we can say that 70 years the peoples of Afghanistan, they are struggling for peace. And whatever it's Taliban or whatever it is from Afghanistan security forces, the people, they want something sustainable. In that way they can live a peaceful way. But the unfortunate thing, this Taliban, they are making some peaceful discussion and meeting, yeah, with Afghan security forces, and also US as a counterpart in Dubai, in Qatar, Doha. So but it's still we are not seeing that much level of hopes, because in one hand Taliban is, or maybe Afghan security forces or US soldier, US counterpart, they are making some peaceful meeting and something and showing to the world they are working for peace. But on the other hand, they are fighting for each other, they are killing each other, and in that way the war will not stop actually, because it's very clear if Taliban can stop by the killing, they can stop actually much more previously they can stop. It shows actually what I always I said, even also argued before, they have very good numbers of people support. Even the civilians people support by whatever it means. Maybe these people, we can say that who are supporting them them, they are feeling them, they are supporting them only because of religion. They don't care about this the world's education system, or like these are the world's modernization, or like liberalization, or democracy. They don't care about it. They just care like what Taliban said to them about the religion and Islam or something. I mean, their interpretation of religion, and by this the way Afghan people are habituated with this view. I mean, like some, or maybe the number of people is still, I mean, like arguable and debatable, because there is no democracy. We cannot say like 60, 70 or some percent of people are supporting current government, or like some other person supporting Taliban, because we don't know the current number. But the reality shows to us 70 years they are fighting, still they are not finding any peace. It means the Taliban, they have a support and they have a strong base in there. And on the other hand, Afghan security forces, they have still so much leg to control their, you know, how we can say, sovereignty, and also their the country's national security.
Yes, thank you so much. Put the accent of the death of the son for Bin Laden. So, do you think that the USA has interred in this death, and she has purpose or something like that for this death?
Yeah, you know, this those
But
kind of issues.
actually, I wanted to let me know just can you give it to us some details about the historical details about his life, how about his education, and what his background, as we're seeing now by this picture at first. And our second question, it will be about if the USA really has interred in this case.
Thank you. You know, this the important things is like, you know, not his, I mean, the son is not important, but the father is very much important, because like as we know, this Bin Laden, he's one of the I mean number one terrorist, I mean listed terrorist by USA after the Twin Tower attack.
But don't forget that when we focus about some details historical, he's like heritage some values about his father, so it's interesting too.
Yeah, of course, like, you know, this why the US even also killed him, because they understand like the son, maybe he will, because you know this, the as we talk about the some illegal migrants or like those kind of issues, even this kind of organization, they have also some things, you know, like looks like a, you know, the style is mafia style or something. Yeah, you know, to me it looks like actually this like a mafia style, you know, this that it's really hard to understand their networking. It's really hard to understand with whom they are working and what, but yeah, we can argue like what they're interpreting about Islam is not what actually the Islam, I mean, like this whatever his father or he, but the issue is like why the US they killed his son, because you know this, they understand as he is in some extent he is I mean, like how I can say, following his father, and he is by some means experienced and also valued by his father values, you know, because the Bin Laden, whatever he does, I mean, his son is the eldest son, and he knows very well what his father did and what his father make us networks and those kind of issues. And to me, like, this is the one of the most important things for USA to kill him. I mean, USA security personnel and also the other countries, I mean, like, because they understand like if he's sustained again, then maybe he will make another network. I mean, there's another Al-Qaeda network, or those so-called this terrorist group network, and to make much more worse to the world. And that's why like they feel like, okay, to kill I mean it's better to kill him and something like what we understand. But as I told, actually it's not important actually the issue for him, but it's important like he's the son of the Bin Laden, and that's the actual issue, that's to make him also much more terrible, because as I told, like he knows very well about his father's I mean network. And that's why I think like this US administration or like other countries even also were taking so much concern about the Al-Qaeda and this Osama bin Laden and his son or other networks, they think like, okay, it should, I mean, he should to be also, I mean, finish. I mean, what we saw that he already killed. And you know, this after Osama bin Laden killed by the US soldiers, you know, we saw so many activities and so many statements given by his son, and it shows also that he has also interest what his father did. I mean, he was also interested to prolonging the message what his father did previously. And by all of means, actually, what USA did, it's just to protect, you know, to their security, we can say. I mean, like what USA is always try to say, I mean, to preemptive policy, or I mean security policy, to make a check and balance of their policy facts.
Thank you so much. Let's continue our news today with Egypt. So in Egypt, hunger strike over prison. About 130 inmates at prison in Egypt have been on hunger strike. Do you have some details about it?
Thank you so much. You know, Egypt, you know, these people, of course, we have to run after the Arab Spring, and Egypt was one of the best example for it on the way of democracy. But unfortunate things, you know, their first critically elected president, Mohamed Morsi, he was, you know, died in prison recently. I mean, it was just only 1 month, and also, as we know, that he was the first democratically elected president, and he was in the power for 1 year. You know, this that Egyptian people, they did for democracy, but in some extent, as I shared with you about the Tunisian stuffs, you know, to gain the level of democracy what the Western or European countries are gaining, it's really hard for Middle East or other countries like Asian countries, because democracy is one kind of, you know, learning process. That's so, I mean, the other countries are like, it's not possible for them if you don't learn or if you don't know much more things about the taste of democracy. The democracy, they have so many good side, but they have also bad side. I mean, that in democratically elected president, it's of course good for the people because people elect him. But on the other hand, there is also, you know, some things that also the people may not like. But the issue is, you know, in Egypt, they unfortunately they lost their president, and the first democratic elected president in the history of Egypt. They lost him, and they, I mean, some sources said, and like the current regime, they killed him in the prison. And you know, in that way, and in that sequence, you know, there's some other political prisoners, especially, you know, who are prisoned after the Morsi's arrest, and also after the collapse of that government, especially who are the supporter of the Morsi's political party, you know, there's and also the Muslim Brotherhood. Those people is still in the prison, and they make, you know, the hunger strike. And as we saw the news, you know, so many already the people already died because of hunger strike. Even, you know, this the Egyptian current regime, they don't care about this, because they don't have any, you know, value of their lives of these people, because if they care, they first care the president of I mean the Egyptian president. So it means that they don't care anyone. You know, if you make a hunger strike or if you died or killed, I mean, not even the Egyptian regime, even also know what we are toiling this current world, like modernization or civilization states, or like liberalization. You know, this nobody in the world are talking about this issue. Yeah, there is a process, there is something like you have to talk, you have to criticize about this, but unfortunately we are not seeing anything, any kind of statement from any civilized states to talk about this this humanitarian issue.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Our second title in Russia, it's about the strengthening nations military. May you explain to us what are the purpose, and what is the purpose do you think that Russia receive it, for example, when every country or each country, when they think that they have to make their security more strengthened or try to strengthen the military side, which means they receive some threat or something like that. So what's your expectation about making the security defense more and more stronger?
Thank you so much. This it's very much important. Russia. It's about actually Serbia. They said
Yes.
about like the Russia is their most partners. I mean, like in any kind of international cooperation. Even historically, if we see, whatever is a bad or good side, even also in the time of the genocide happened by the Serbian, military to on Bosnian people, Bosnian civilians. Even in that time also, the some argues like this, the Serbian military they were helped by the Russia. So it's historical process, and Russia, most of the area, most of the countries, they are making relations, giving their intelligence service, especially their military, services, military weapons to that country. And Serbia is the one of the best, to make or to get this kind of help from Russia. So as you all saw the news, that how the Serbia is telling about these things and how Serbia is getting help from the Russia by militarily. Also they have so many joint program between Serbia and Russia. Even also if you saw the picture, it shows like the Serbia and Russian relations, especially president to president and people to people relations. Even the the military to military relations, defense to defense relations, very strong rather than other countries relations with Russia.
Thank you so much. So, Indonesia, salt farmers face a hardship despite the harvest. What's your opinion about it, and how can you explain this economical phenomena?
This okay, but I will not tell that much about the
Yes.
explain about that much level. I know this. I think that in Indonesia, it's very much important the harvesting and issues, because as you asked me, there's
talk about the salt. Yes.
salt issues, because it's one of the best trade or business for them.
Yes.
But as we see like this kind of issues, of course, is losing their economy and their trade, because as we saw like for harvesting or for those kind of issues, to make us the salt and make for their business, if it is not going smoothly, of course it will impact on their economy and on their national economy especially.
Thank you so much. So the employment in Africa, the statistic and the number, it gets more and more higher actually. So what is your expectation about this social phenomena, and how can we avoid it? If Africa really has a plan for stop this phenomena and or make it or solve some this issue.
It's important discussion, this in Africa, like unemployment process especially is going high, and even also this the people's level, like the higher level and the lower level is also the much more high level in Africa.
Yes.
Because it's not actually only Africa, most of the countries, except the Western or European countries, the most of the countries of the world, the rich people are going to be much more rich, the lower people and poor people are going to be much more poor. So the issue is same, and Africa is not exceptional. But the thing, that's what we have to remember, in Africa they have a very good number of young youth people, and these people, they need a job, they need a
But the problem here, sorry, I will stop you. But the problem here that the African people in Africa generally, it has a lot of capitalism. And when we talk about capitalism, it exists especially in Africa. So how they suffering from unemployment? This is the question that I'm really always wondering about it.
This the first thing, to get a job, if we discuss in general way, the general, education is very much important. But in some African countries, they are really in a very good level. The projection of development is really high. For example, we can say we can talk about the South Africa, or like Ghana, or like this some like Cameroon, or even also from this part, like we can talk like North African region,
Yes.
they're also, I mean, the very good level of their employment, and also the educated level. But if we talk the in general, like, because Africa is not a small I mean, like one or two countries, you know, it's a continent, and there are a lot of countries. But you know, this, when we are talking about in average level of employment or unemployment, it shows the unemployment level is very much high, because some countries is still the system, I mean, consistently, you know, they are I mean, fighting for, you know, the first thing is the education, second thing is also the political instability, because you know, if your country or if any country in the world has a, you know, political instability, it's really hard for any country to produce much more job. And
Which
in that
means
way,
it's always linked with the
Yeah.
independence political, actually.
Exactly, because you know, this politics, if your country has instability in politics, automatically it will impact on your society, it will impact on your economy, if it will impact on your education system,
will affect
and ultimately this also situation, it will impact on the youth or young society of that country. And that is happening actually mostly. If you still look, you know, most of the African conflict or African democracy administrative process, you know, still there are, you know, as you asked me, like so many capitalist country and so many, I mean, rich country, they are doing so many things, business or trade or their cooperation with African countries. But those developed countries are going to be more developed, but the African countries are not going to be that much benefited by this way. I mean, it's the first thing is actually different on situation to situation, country to country. I mean, the what I'm talking here, it may not be same for every country, but yeah, for so many countries it will be actually the very important, because the still Africa, they are you know, facing and challenging for, you know, democracy, or like, you know, they're challenging for, you know, sustainable development, because in some countries, in some part of Africa, they are developing in a very good level, in a high level, but the problem of sustainable development, you know, the that's what the United Nations said, like, or like SDG, what we said, like one step by one step, like development, they are facing this kind of problem. And also this, you know, the some countries, that's what I said, this political instability is totally, I mean, like clearly impacts on the society and economy, and ultimately the young society, they are losing, I mean, they are not getting the expected job what they need. And it makes actually much more, you know, challengeable for African youths, and makes unemployment. But yeah, of course, beside this, there is a lot of, you know, hope for Africa, and I think that the next decade is or next time, I mean, next decades in Africa, I mean, economy in Africa, and I believe like this it will make Africa much more, you know, rich, much more, you know, employment society, I mean, employed country. Even it will make much more, you know, hope to the Africa.
Thank you so much. Like that, our program Weekly News is finished today. We presenting you the economic, social, and especially the international relationship between the country, all this news and the actualities. Thank you for following us, and thank you for being with us, leaving the information always on Natural TV, Ankara, Turkey. Salam.